Hi guys! So a big thank you for purchasing the luxury gift box. Within it you will have some canvases. I'm going to show you today how to create a Monstera plant painting. So we'll get started. Make sure you've got the plastic off your canvas, you've got your brushes ready, you've got some water, paper towel, and you've also put out your paints. So for the paints today I'm going to be using white, dark brown, cool blue, cool yellow and cool red. Okay, let's get started. You're going to want to make sure you have got your pencil ready from your pack, and we're going to go ahead on this and draw out our Monstera plant. Okay, so I'm going to try and make it as simple as possible for you guys. So just over here on the left hand side, I'm just going to get my pencil and do a big sort of scooped line all the way along like so. I am then going to thicken the base of it out here on the left, and then follow it round almost a bit like a shoelace, and then taper it off to a point just along here. Okay, then up here at the top I'm going to add another line up like that. Again, widen it down here on the left and run it along a bit like a shoelace, just along there. And then lastly, roughly about here on my canvas, I'm just going to do a line coming down like that, and then make that into a shoelace that sort of tapers into a point just here. Okay, there's no need to widen this part out at all. Then we're going to sort of flesh it out by adding in some of the leaves. So we'll start on this one again. So roughly where it sort of comes up in a hump, I'm going to get you to do a little bit of a curve, and we're going to take our pencil line up, and we're going to do the same right here. I'll bring that down. So you can see the first sort of leaf forming here. I'm going to do a similar sort of shape just there. And then I'm going to add a little curve here. Bring that leaf forward. And curve it around again. So you can see I'm bringing the leaves towards this edge on the right. And feel free to pause this at any time if you want to take it a bit slower than what I'm doing here. I'm going to start again over on the left, do a little bit of a curve. This leaf is going to come in front of that one that's behind. Curve it out. So just keep adding these in all the way towards the front of the leaf. Okay, so we've got sort of the bones of that laid out before we add anything else into it. I'll come down to this one here. You're going to do that little curve again at the back. Let's take that leaf around, loop it up, back around again. This leaf is going in behind this one, just here. So you will only be able to see little sections of it poking through. I think the most important thing when drawing this out is to make sure you get these big loops that you find within this plant. It's what sort of makes it quite distinctive. And then we'll work on this one just up here on the top. Now this one is a little bit different because we're looking at it from underneath the leaf. So I'll come about halfway up, just curve it out like so, and then bring it across the ways like this. that's kind of the main shape. Now the only other thing to add is we'll put a few little holes within this bigger leaf here. So I'm going to add one just there. I'm going to add one here. Another one there. There. Maybe even just one on the edge of that one. And then down at the front, add another one here and here. If at any point in time you make a mistake, you can use the rubber that has come in your pack, or you will be able to adjust it with your paintbrush, okay? That's the nice thing about sort of lining out in pencil first and then working over the top with paint, because you can paint over the lines and you'll not see them anymore. So another one there, maybe one there as well. So I'll just leave this for a second so that you can have a little look at it before we start on our painting. Now you're going to want to grab your paint brushes and grab the widest brush. So it's this flat, wide brush. And just pop it in the water, get it nice and wet. And we're going to go ahead and mix together big scoop, two big scoops of white paint and just one small scoop of red, and mix those two together. You will get a really nice pink. This is going to be the background color. Feel free to go lighter or darker, or do whatever color that you like. This is the pink that I am going to be using. Now when painting this, I'm going to be taking a sort of different approach. I'm not going to be meticulously filling in every little gap, but more so doing it with flat brush strokes. So I'll explain what that looks like. You're going to want to go ahead and fill in the entire background with this brush. Okay, so you will paint in the background. Don't forget to pop your brush into water every so often, just to help it. But again, instead of having all of these lines really perfectly, I'm going to do them a bit rougher and just do them more like a straight edge. So I'm just sort of block filling them in. So I'll complete this and then I'll show you exactly what I mean. As you'll see, I have just completed the background with the pink paint, and you'll notice that the brush strokes, as I said, are very rough. I've gone over the edges, I've gone over the lines. This is kind of the technique that I want to use on this painting. You can go ahead and do it as, perfect and as neat as you like, but this is the application that I'm going to be using today. So you can go ahead and wash out that brush and set it to one side. Now the next brush that I am going to use is a smaller version of the one that we just had. So it's again a flat brush, but it's got more of a rounded head on it. So we're going to use that one next. Just pop that into the water and soften up the bristles. So you'll notice we don't have any green in our pack, and that's because we can mix up our own green tones. So I want you to grab 2 scoops of yellow to just 1 small scoop of blue, and you will get a really nice bright vibrant green. So we will use different tones of green, anything from light, medium to dark greens, and some browns, maybe some blues in there as well, but we'll start off with this really nice bright vibrant green to begin with. So just make sure then that you dry your canvas off at this stage. You can use a hairdryer or you can just chill out for 10 minutes. So my canvas is nice and dry. Now I'm going to apply the green paint. So I'll come around this other side just here. So we'll start on our biggest leaf that we have in the middle. And all I'm going to do is add green in some sections. So I'll do a little bit the top part here. Let's go and grab my plate. And then I'm going to come down to this next leaf that I have. A little bit there as well. So I'm going to really just add the lighter green to the top section of each of the leaves. And again, I'm using that more angled approach to filling in the color. Again, you can feel free to do this nice and smooth and neat. And then over on this other side, I'm going to do the opposite. So I'm going to do underneath each section. Don't worry if you can see the pink coming through along the edges. We can sort of tidy that up later with some darker tones. Then I'm going to fill this last bit just along here. So that sort of shoelace that we put in at the start, I'm leaving a gap for that. I'm not filling that line in. So I'll take the green sort of right up to the edge of that. And I'm just sort of giving them a little bit of a touch up with a second coat. And then I'm going to start on this one that's just down here. I'm going to do underneath each section. I'll take that right up into that shoelace in the middle. And then over on this side, I'm going to leave that blank because we're going to add some darker tones because it's sort of hidden underneath this leaf, so it should be under a shadow. We'll go up to this one up here on the top. Let's add a little bit of that green. Just along here. So I'm sort of filling in the entire leaf on the left side, the one colour. Again, we will build up different tones. Just add that bit there. And then we're also going to fill in over on the right hand side the same colour. Again, you'll notice that I'm just painting into this quite haphazardly. Again, just the style that I'm going for. So I'll give you all a minute to do that. Now we are going to swap over to one of our small pointed brushes. I want you to take that darker green that you were just using, and we're going to come up to this leaf up here at the top, and just all along the bottom, the right side, just going to add a little bit of that darker green. I'm just layering it sort of over the top of the lighter green, just along the edge. Like so. And I'm also going to add a little bit of it to the bottom of each of these cutouts, where you can see the pink. So it's the bottom of the leaf, but the top of the cutout. I know that I didn't explain that very well. So just above these two pink gaps and above that one, just adding that darker green. Then you can go ahead and wash out this brush because we're going to use it again. Now that darker green that we were just using, I want you to go ahead and add some more blue into that. At this point in time, it'll be a very, very blue green. Okay. once you've got that colour, we're going to go ahead and fill in these shoelaces. So as I said, it should be very close to blue. So I want you to go ahead and fill in the shoelace down here, the same with the one in the centre here, and this one up at the top. Now that you've done that, we're going to continue to use that small pointed brush and that blue tone that we've just done here, and we're going to add a little bit of a shadow underneath each of the leaves and the cutouts of the leaves on the left hand side. Just painting right along the top of the dark green. We're just adding that bluish green along the edge. It's to give almost like a shadowed effect on our leaves. Now I'm also going to go ahead and add it to the top of the leaf here on the left hand side. And on the right side here, where we said the leaf would be sort of hidden underneath this one, and it would create a shadowed effect. I'm just going to add some of that darker colour throughout there. Like that. I'm also going to add that darker colour anywhere that I've got a slightly darker portion of the leaf. So over here on the right hand side, it's just underneath. Like so. And a little bit just on top. Just there. Okay, so anywhere you've got a darker section of the leaf, go ahead and add a little bit of a shadow line of this bluish green colour. Now you can go ahead and wash out that little brush again. This time we're going to use white paint, and we're going to add in some lines, little detail lines. So I'm just going to very gently go over that shoelace section right down the middle on my leaves. Don't worry if the white mixes in slightly with the green that's behind it. That adds a nice touch to it. And I'm also going to add little traces of white just along these cutouts. So I'm just going over the top and adding some little lines onto my leaf. Again, letting the white paint slightly mix in with the green in the background. I'm just going to keep adding these in. So I'm not putting a lot of white paint onto my brush, just the smallest amount. I'm sort of following the curve of each leaf. Like so. So just keep adding lots of these little thin wispy white lines over all of the green leaf. Now that you've got all of those thin white lines, what I want you to do is the darkest bluish green that we were using, I want you to add a little bit of brown into that to deepen it down even further. And we're going to add this to the section of the leaf that's sort of hidden in behind. Again, just to create a shadow. So I'm just adding a little bit of it to this left hand side of this leaf. Just a little bit there. I'm going to add a little section of it at the bottom of this leaf here, where it sort of brings it into the stem. I'm going to add a little section of it here where these two parts of the leaf sort of folded over, and again it would create a shadow. And a little bit of it there, and also, and I'll add a tiny little bit onto the stem just here as well. Okay, so anywhere you kind of think you would have a little bit of a shadow, you can add that brown green to the top. And then lastly, you're going to wash out that brush again, that little small thin brush. We're going to use a little bit of yellow, and anywhere that we want to highlight, you're just going to add a little bit of that yellow to it. Now again, it will still mix in with the colors that are underneath because my paint layers are all still quite wet. Just add a little bit of that yellow highlight on all the lightest parts of the leaf. A little bit to this top part. Once you've done that, you have completed your painting. You can go ahead and dry and sign it at the bottom in whatever color that you like. I might go with a little bit of yellow just there and add my signature in. So give it a go, take a photograph of it at the end and upload it to your social media, and don't forget to tag us because we'd love to see how it turned out, and we'll reshare it on our story as well. Thanks guys, and bye.